The paintwork of the body, like on other models of the brand, is quite soft, which is why it does not resist the appearance of chips and scratches. It should also be noted that there is a strong variation of the thickness of the paintwork. Depending on the batches and parts, the layer thickness ranges from 80 to 150 microns. In addition, on the first copies there were problems with the quality of painting. Small grains of sand and craters were present in the paintwork, removed by polishing. Often, the owners of the first Hyundai Creta also complain about the poor quality of paint in door hinges. On cars manufactured before 2017, paint blistering on the tailgate was a common occurrence. There are complaints about the quality of body iron. The body panels are made of fairly thin metal and do not withstand the onslaught of the red disease. Corrosion strikes the trunk door the fastest. The spoiler and the rib under the glass of the trunk lid are the first to be covered with mushrooms. Also prone to corrosion are the rolling zones of the fifth door panels, the ribs of the niches under the taillights, the hood and the edge of the roof. The latter rust only in the places of chips. Often, owners manage to fix problems with the body under warranty for the paintwork and body for 5 years or 150,000 kilometers. However, there is no guarantee that rust will not reappear over time. Another disadvantage is the presence of assembly jumps. In some instances, uneven gaps between the body panels and bumpers, the trunk lid is poorly adjusted, sticks out. Breakdowns of body equipment among other disadvantages of the Hyundai Creta, it is worth noting the low quality of steel and rubbers, a small area for heating the windshield, and the operation of wipers. In the rain, visibility worsen. The windshield is also on the list of vulnerabilities, as scuffs appear on it after 2-3 years of operation. Many owners complain about the quality of the high light beam of the head optics. To solve the problem, the installation of more powerful lamps is required, and its tendency to fogging. You need to change the rubber bands between the headlights and the body. Not happy with the quality and the plastic from which the bumpers are made, it breaks even with slight contact with an obstacle. Of the operational troubles, it is necessary to single out quickly dirty thresholds, the tailgate and the engine compartment, constructive miscalculation. Due to the fact that narrow mudguards are installed at the rear, the inside of the rear bumper becomes clogged with dirt over the years. The fifth door lock has an unpleasant feature of knocking when driving over bumps. If this shortcoming appears, do not write off to go to adjust the door or change the lock, since to eliminate the shortcomings, it is enough to warp the lock bracket with electrical tape located on the threshold of the trunk. The Hyundai Creta powertrain line consists of two 1.6 G4FG and 2.0-liter G4NA gasoline engines, which are manufactured in China. The stock engine is well known to fans of Korean brands Hyundai, Kia for such models as Solaris, Ria, Elantra, Cerata, etc. In general, this unit is ahead of schedule, reliable but noisy in operation. When choosing a car with this internal combustion engine, you need to be prepared for the diesel sound of the engine disappear after warming up, the clatter of valve, adjustment of thermal clearances is required, the whistle of the drive belt, tightening or replacement of the tensioner is required. Closer to 150,000 kilometers, an extended chain can serve as a source of noise, the untimely replace of which leads to incorrect operation of the CVVT phase control system and the meeting of valves with pistons. Also in the list of problem areas of the G4FG engine is the current valve cover gasket. Replacing the gasket helps get rid of the problem at 40–60,000 kilometers and the tendency to coke an intake. Many owners have also encountered such a nuisance as a malfunction of the immobilizer. It does not recognize the ignition key and prevents the engine from starting. The owners who save on fuel quality after 100,000 km, scuffs appear on the cylinder wall, as a result of which the engine starts knocking and oil consumption increases. Most often, the culprit of the disease is ceramic dust, which is drawn into the cylinders when the converter is destroyed. With timely maintenance and replacement of the catalyst, the resource of the piston group will be about 400,000 km. G4NA. The top G4NA engine is less common, since the cost of the Hyundai Creta with this engine is unreasonably high. Like the younger model of the line, a metal chain is used in the timing drive, which according to the manufacturer is designed for the entire service life of the internal combustion engine, but in fact it starts to rattle after 120,000 km of run. It stretches, the tensioner fails. Symptoms: when stretches, in addition to rumbling sound, the engine may triple and run erratically. Another disadvantage is the noise of the hydraulic lifters. Changing the oil and flushing the channels helps to reduce the annoying clatter. The biggest problem that car owners face with this engine is the appearance of scoring, usually 3–4 cylinders. The exact cause of the disease has not been established, but among the main versions are improperly selected oil, wear of liners, abrupt starts on an unheated internal combustion engine, prolonged idling and local overheating of the piston. Of the minor troubles, one can single out excessive engine noise, weak seals and gaskets, they leak over time, the fragility of the pump during wear the excess shafts, and strong vibration appear. If the motor bypasses problems with the piston, it will last 350–450,000 kilometers. The choice of transmissions available for the Hyundai Creta is limited to two boxes: 6-speed manual M6 CF1 and automatic A6 GF1. The manual transmission is reliable and up to 200,000 kilometers, as a rule, does not cause any special problems. In rare cases, after 30,000 kilometers, it is necessary to replace the clutch kit when worn, twitches appear at the start. It is worth noting that dealers rarely recognize this defect as a warranty one, and the owners have to change the clutch at their own expense. The release bearing, drive and input shaft oil seals do not differ in an impressive margin of safety, they make themselves felt after 50,000 kilometers. From time to time, the gear selection mechanism also requires attention, it needs periodic adjustment. Closer to 200,000 kilometers, the box may start to make noise due to wear on the shaft bearings. The reliability of the A6 GF1 automatic transmission depends largely on the quality of service. So, for example, with a rear oil change, friction wear products will be carried around the box, clogging the solenoids, oil pump and valve body, which will lead to a decrease in lubrication pressure and accelerated wear of automatic transmission parts. Adversely affects the transmission and aggressive driving style. With sharp starts, torque converter clutches wear out quickly. It is also worth mentioning the weak cooling system, which does not always cope with its duties under prolonged loads. If the box is overheated, the resource of the speed sensors will be significantly reduced. Off-road enthusiasts should avoid prolonged slippage, as this is fraught with damage to the differential splines. On a car without additional underbody protection, there is a risk of damaging the oil pan, it is made of plastic. With careful operation and oil change every 60,000 kilometers, the machine will last more than 250,000 kilometers, but closer to 150,000 kilometers, oil seals, gaskets and friction linings of the torque converter will have to be replaced. Four-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive system works with the Magna powertrain electro-hydraulic clutch, known from the Kia Sportage models. In general, the clutch is reliable but painfully endures a meeting with water, leaky. Therefore, it is not recommended to overcome the fault on the Hyundai Creta, since after water procedure, the clutch dies after a couple of thousand kilometers. In cars with automatic transmission, the weak point is the splines of the intermediate shaft passing through the transfer case and the right drive, it cuts off. If you often go off-road, the propeller shaft outboard bearing, shaft seals and anthers quickly give up. For cars manufactured in 2016–2017, the fuel pipe in the gas tank area may be damaged, rubbing against the wiring harnesses mounting brackets. To avoid possible troubles, you should slightly bend the bracket. The front-wheel drive Hyundai Creta has a simple suspension architecture with McPherson struts on the front axle and a beam on the rear. In all-wheel drive versions of the car, a multi-link is used at the rear. In good condition, the chassis provides an acceptable level of comfort and handling, although it has prematurely short suspension travel, which is unusual for cars of this class. As for the reliability of suspension parts, when operating in the city, most parts can withstand up to 100,000 km. Of the weak points, only delicate wheel studs can be noted. If you overdo it with the tightening torque, there is a risk of stripping the thread. The resource of shock absorbers, support and wheel bearings on average is 80–120,000 km. Silent blocks of levers and ball bearings can last up to 150,000 km without replacement. Rear suspension parts, with the exception of shock absorbers, usually do not cause much trouble to owners up to 150,000 km. For outdoor enthusiasts, the resource of consumables is usually less. When repairing the chassis, it is recommended to install high-quality analog, since they cost less but last longer. The steering system uses a rack and pinion mechanism, which, depending on the modification, can be supplemented with an electric or hydraulic power steering. After 2017, only an electric power steering is available. On the first batches of cars with electric power steering, the steering rack did not differ in margin of safety and began to knock after several thousand kilometers, after which it was changed under warranty. Later, the manufacturers straightened the design and the parts stopped bothering with breakdowns up to 100–150,000 kilometers. There are frequent cases of malfunctions in the operation of the electric power steering, to eliminate which almost all components of the system change. Steering tips need to be replaced no more than once every 100,000 km. The brake system at the moment needs only control and replacement of consumables. It is also recommended to lubricate the caliper guides at each maintenance, it will help to avoid their souring in the future. The salon is made of cheap finishing materials, but due to the small age, there are still few complaints. Of the main disadvantages, it is necessary to highlight the fragility of plastic trim elements, the presence of crickets appear after 20–30,000 kilometers, and poor sound insulation. Of the operational shortcomings, the owners note the lack of illumination of the buttons on the doors and the glove box, the poor sound quality of standard acoustics, and the use of wide racks. Despite the status of a budget car, the Hyundai Creta is well equipped. In the top terrain levels, there is almost everything, from the heated steering wheel to the assistance system when descending a mountain. It is too early to say how reliable the electronics in the car are, since the age of most copies is small. Of the weaknesses that have already appeared, one can single out the unreliability of the heater motor, air temperature sensor, and tire sensor. It does not work correctly in severe frost. Often, owners are frightened by the random flashing of headlights and instrument panel lights while the engine is idling. This feature only appears when the battery is low. Hyundai Creta can hardly be called an ideal car, however, this model is quite fresh, so finding a well-groomed copy in good technical condition will not be difficult. But is it worth buying a used copy if the difference between a new car and a used one is small? In addition, fresh cars will have fewer childhood diseases. After restyling in 2017 and 2020, most of them have been eliminated. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.